Good morning. It is time to skip the BS. It is time for Undisputed. And finally, it is time for the National Football League for real. Detroit at Kansas City tonight.
Hey, man, what's up, guys?
Hey.
I'm so excited right now, man, that the season is really here. We ain't talk about what kind of off-season. It's been long, and I'm just happy that we are here for real football.
Hey, it's been a long off season in more ways than one, has it not?
Yes, it has.
Yes. So let's kick it off with your Super Bowl matchup and your Super Bowl winner. Michael, you first.
Now, Skip.
Yes, sir.
You guys know, and we were just kind of joking about a little bit about how long this offseason has been. And I prayed hard this whole offseason. And God said, I shall bless you for this turmoil. He said, for this suffering, I will give you some great days. And my great days are ahead of me. He said, your latter days will be better than your former days. These being my former, but my latter will be coming in February when the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl and play the Cincinnati Bengals. That's why I got to sit there. No. I say this, guys, because I'm telling you, and I know we'll talk about it here in a second, this injury to Travis Kelce is huge for Kansas City. It's huge. I got to see how this thing plays out. I still like the Cincinnati Bengals. I got the Cowboys. And you notice I got the Cowboys over the Cincinnati Bengals in paradise. You guys know that's where the city in Las Vegas, that's where the stadium is. It's called Paradise. It's perfect. It's just perfect. I got the Cowboys
Las
over the
Vegas.
I have no idea what Mike is talking about right now.
Wait a second. Michael Irvin just said, God said, let there be the Dallas Cowboys, right? Are you going to defy God?
Paradise.
Well, yeah, look, my Super Bowl matchup is simple for me. It goes that same division that Michael was talking about with the Cincinnati Bengals. The only team the different team, though, for me, is the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, okay? You look at the Baltimore Ravens a year ago, they were rolling when Lamar was in there. He got hurt, and they still stabilized to a degree where they had an opportunity to do some
but remember,
stuff.
Lamar was hurt off the field, too.
But Lamar is the key to everything they do. What did they do? They went out there and got a new offensive coordinator. They went out there and got them some weapons because they realized if we played this style of football, we are not going to get to the promised land.
Yeah.
So we're going to go get OBJ. We're going to draft. We're going to make sure our receivers are healthy. We're going to go get dudes that can push the envelope for us on the offensive side. Now, defensively, you know, they may have some question marks, but they understand the division. They understand the conference. I believe, much like Michael said about Kansas City as well, I don't know, having Chris Jones out right now and Travis Kelce, who may not play tonight, that's huge. Now, how long will that last? We don't know. I got Baltimore coming out of the AFC. On the NFC side, I don't have the Dallas Cowboys. I don't have the Philadelphia Eagles. I do not have the San Francisco 49ers. I have the New Orleans Saints.
We don't need to hear, King.
What, the who?
The New Orleans Saints.
The New Orleans Saints?
Stop,
Okay.
Wait, are they still playing football in New Orleans?
Okay, so here's why y'all don't like the New Orleans Saints. Because they lost last year. They were banged up. They were hurt. The head coach, Sean Payton, was doing television. Dennis Allen comes in. He doesn't get any respect because he got fired as a Raider coach, just like everybody else got fired as Raider coaches. You look at that and you say it's not sexy to you. But here's what I would say. When you look at the new quarterback, they went through 3 quarterbacks last year. Michael, you know good and well you can't win with the third quarterback. You can't win with Taysom Hill, Andy Dalton. You can't win with Jameis Winston, okay? They go out there and they get Derek Carr. You got Derek Carr. Who is that? What is that? Think about the division. Think about the division for a minute. You think it's murderous row? You think when you're playing against Baker Mayfield twice and Bryce Young twice, and you think about Desmond Ridder twice, you're set up for success. Now, check this out, though, Skip. The opponents, okay, they play 4 rookies. I mean, they play rookies 4 times. They got Ryan Tannehill. Did that scare you? Bryce Young, I mentioned. Jordan Love, did that scare you? Baker Mayfield scare you? Does Mac Jones, C.J. Stroud scare you? Trevor Lawrence scare you? You compile playmaker. When you compile them victories and them wins, you get home field advantage. They got to come through New Orleans in a hostile environment. I'm just telling you, I understand the sexiness of Philadelphia. I can tell you this, the Cowboys aren't winning the division because the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win the division.
Stop.
So you're going to be on the road.
But winning divisions does nothing for you. We are talking about Super Bowl.
It helps you get to
that garbage
It
South,
helps
they
you
ain't gonna
get to the
through
Super
playoffs.
Bowl. If you got home field
they-
advantage throughout the playoffs like Kansas City has had for the last 5 years, it's an easier path. You know that, playmaker. You've been to 3 Super Bowls. You know. If you get that first or that second seed, you got a hell of a chance of making the Super Bowl. I'm giving them that high seed because of who they play in the division that they're in. Everything else is cake for me.
Okay, and Derek Carr has done what in his postseason life?
Okay, so now you want to argue with me on that. Not argue with me, communicate with me on that. I don't like to say argue. I don't like to say argue. I like to say communicate. Let's go with his first head coach in Dennis Allen, with Al Davis as the owner. Craziness, as you know. You covered it. You go to Jack Del Rio. Successful year. Successful year. Could have been the MVP, got hurt. Helped them get to the playoffs. They lose to Houston. He's out. Then you go to John Gruden. Come on, man, stop. We all know what that is.
You know what that is.
Then you get Rich Bisaccia, who they should have kept as a head coach.
I agree.
He willed them to the playoffs and cleaned up all that other mess. Then you get Josh McDaniels. So Josh McDaniels doesn't like him. He's not his quarterback. You kick him out, and the first thing people say is, well, he didn't like him. He got to get rid of him. He's not a franchise quarterback. Meanwhile, defensively, since 2016, they've had in points allowed, the worst defense since 2016. They ranked dead last. Dead last. And then I can go Raiders. When he was with the Raiders, no help. He had no receivers. They got rid of Amari Cooper. Crabtree was at the end of his career when he was there. All he had was Darren Waller until he got Devontae Adams, which they lit it up together last year. But again, defensively, he gets zero help. Now you got a team. You got Honey Badger on the defensive side. You got Cam Jordan on the defensive side.
Lattimore.
You got Lattimore in the shutdown corners.
I give you that.
All I'm saying, and then offensively, look at the weapons. And it is a little bit of nepotism on my side. Because of my
thank you for bringing that up.
I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, go ahead. He is your, Michael Thomas is your.
It's my nephew.
Thank you.
My blood.
Okay.
And I'm going to ride or die with blood. It's thicker than water, Skip.
Okay, so you
but
admit.
I also, I admit that. I have no problem. Hey, playmaker, I have no problem with that. At the end, though, Skip, Alvin Kamara, he'll miss 3 games, but that's okay. I mean, that's fine. But you got Olave, you got Juwan Johnson at the tight end, you got Mikey at the receiver position. Come on,
he's
man,
Mikey.
stop.
Now he's Mikey. Okay.
That comes out because of the relationship. But you got to admit, when you think about it, because what you'll do, Skip and Mike, when we go to commercial break, y'all going to sit there and go, yeah, Key does have a good point. That's all I'm saying.
sitting here saying Key does not have a good point.
Come on.
No, I would not.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Michael, go.
There's no way I will say, Key, you have a point in this matter here. Now, listen, I love Michael Thomas, and I surely hope he gets back to his original form, the form that he is, where he's one of the best receivers in the National Football League, and he has put on quite a career since he gotten in the league. But to lift the Saints out of that division, which is possible, but out of that conference, which is not possible, it's impossible for the Saints to get out of that conference. They may win that South. That South is wide open, even though I kind of like Atlanta and some of the things they're doing.
I do too.
But getting out of the conference, there is no way. No way. Because they don't have, I don't see the offensive firepower to play with the top teams in the NFC. I don't see them doing anything with Dallas, certainly. I don't see them being able to play with the Philadelphia Eagles. If they get in the playoffs, they'll go home right away, is how I see it, Skip.
Just like Dallas, huh? Get in and go home right away.
No. You'll go as far as Derek Carr does not take you. That's what will be the bottom line. He always leaves you wanting. And by the way...
Well, you say that about your quarterback, too,
I do, in fact. So Derek Carr is Dak Prescott.
So if Derek Carr leaves you wanting, then what's your quarterback? What is it that your QB
I'm about to go in a second, but I need your Super Bowl winner.
I'm going to pick the Saints.
You're going to pick the Saints to win it all?
I'm going to pick the Saints
win it all?
I'm going to pick the Saints to win it all. I'm going to pick them to win it all.
Okay, now it is my turn. It is possible that the presence of the playmaker on this show has infected me, because I was already infected enough with my cowboyism. But last night, I sat back and I started looking harder and harder at our Dallas Cowboys coming into this year. And I will admit to you, I have little to no objectivity, just the way you declared yourself about Mikey, as you just did. My point is, I have been a Cowboy fan but way before you guys ever played for this team. I was 10 years old, and my uncle, who's a high school football coach in Dallas, Texas, took me to a game at the old Cotton Bowl when I was 10 years of age in 1961. So that's how far back I go with this team. I got you, and it was their second year of expansion. So I was actually a St. Louis Cardinals fan. They're playing at Dallas, because that's the only games we could get on TV at that point. And I went to watch the St. Louis Cardinals, and something about that star on the side of the helmet, and it used to be on the shoulder pads too. It got me. It infected me, and till death do I part. I am a delusional Cowboy fan.
You are certainly delusional.
But to Michael Irvin's point, as I keep listening to him go on and on about these Cowboys, and Michael picks them every year, I get it. And usually I have them just short of the Super Bowl. Sometimes I go over the edge. But last night I went completely over the edge, because I'm saying this team is as loaded as it's ever been. This team won the offseason. When you go get Stephon Gilmore as a top 5 corner, and you book in Trevon Diggs, the ultimate rambling gambler, over on the other side with all-time textbook corner, I can't make that up. I can't go in the lab and create it any better than that. When you go get Brandon Cooks for virtually nothing, and you put a serious deep threat opposite CeeDee Lamb and take some heat off him, just a little bit of heat, because that man is not a young man anymore, can still run by people.
Oh, yes.
And when you go out in the draft and you get Mozzie Smith as an anchor of a defense that led the league in takeaways last year, led it in takeaways, all of a sudden I sit back and say, that's going to be the best defense in pro football. And when you go into the 6th round and you steal Deuce Vaughn, I would have taken him in the 2nd round. That's how much respect I have for him. And I watched him a whole lot at Kansas State, because he is an electric little catalyst who knows how to play, and you can't find him until he's 5 or 6 yards into your secondary.
Okay, now give me the butt.
Okay, my butts are Dak. You know how I feel about Dak. He's just good enough to keep his job and leave you frustrated. But Mike McCarthy is finally going to actually do something, and I'm pretty good with this, because Mike McCarthy once upon a time was regarded as a very good play caller. So I never figured out what his job was until now. Well, he's actually going to do something. He's going to call plays. He ran Kellen Moore off, and I'm good with it. Let's see if this changes the scenery for the Dallas Cowboys. And again, are we deficient at tight end? Well, we got 3 pretty good ones. They're all pretty good enough where we can make up for a Dalton Schultz that we lost. So in the big picture, I sit back and say, why can't this team win it all? Because I look at the offensive line, and you guys tell me, well, it's got to stay healthy, right? Well, listen, remember, Tyler Biadasz, the center, is the quote-unquote weak link. He made the Pro Bowl last year. I got 3 potential Hall of Famers in my offensive line, because Tyron Smith and Zach Martin, they're in. And listen, I'm projecting. I'm way ahead of myself. But Tyler Smith, he is a Lord have mercy, is what he is.
Yeah.
And could he be in the Hall of Fame? Well, sure he could. He's on that trajectory already. So help me out. What's not to love about this team?
There's everything to love about the team, as you know, Playmaker. Every single year you pick them. You understand the roster. They win the offseason every single year. There's no question about it. At the end of the day, they're paper champions as we speak right now, because it's all on paper.
Yeah.
It's all on paper. Just like you say to me, there's no New Orleans. That's true. You can say that until the lights come on. Once the lights come on, when they play the New York Giants this weekend, we'll see what the Dallas Cowboys are. We'll have a clear understanding of what type of football team this is. Right now, it looks great. It looks great on paper.
Key, you were right, Key. I have picked him, Key. But now let me tell you the difference. When I went to talk to those guys in Boulder, it was some of the Cowboy stuff coming out. Because remember the fights and all of that stuff that they had in practice. I picked them over the last few years because they've had the skill. Like I told the guys in Boulder, they've had the skill. I told Steven a couple years ago, stop getting the top athletic guys. I'll take a guy with a little less talent, with a little less skill, but more will. DeMazi Smith, the Tyler Smith, the Michael Parsons. We needed guys with more will. The Trayvon Diggs. Now, we got the skill. Now we have that will. You're seeing fights in practice. No, we're fighting for every inch. We're fighting for every yard. That's about will. That's about we're not letting you beat us here in practice. We're not going to let you beat us there in the game. That's what the Cowboys needed, and now you see that on the football field, and where it's a deep enough level to go with that skill that they can get through this. That's why getting a Stephen Gilmore is so important to go with a Trayvon Diggs, because now we have something you need with those bookend corners. When you get above, when we get up on the scoreboard, I want to see people drop back and throw. And I told them last year, when I said Philly was great, and then I turned around and saw that finger-looking good defense come around that corner. Oh, man, please. And now we just put that back corner on the backside. This is going to be the year because the defense is going to get us there. When you ask, I know everybody talk about Dak Prescott, and the offense is going to hold up. But, boy, that defense is going to get you over the hump and in the Super Bowl. Dak and Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup and all those guys and CeeDee Lamb, they'll put up the points, but now we'll hold up.
So he rattled off a bunch of names, right, Skip? All the names, all the cute stuff. But y'all setting yourself up for failure and a heartbreak. You do understand that, right, Skip?
It has been historic that we do this. It has been 27 years since we even made it to an NFC championship game, which featured the playmaker. That's how long ago it was. And yet, I'm going to go. I've all offseason, I had this team getting to the NFC Championship game for the first time in 27 years. I look around the NFC and I say, no, they're just better than all these teams. They're better than the Eagles. Right. Their defense is way better than the Eagles' defense. Offense, it might be.
You felt that way when they went into San Francisco last year, too.
All right, and I do. I admire and honor San Francisco. But I think the Dallas Cowboys will go 13-4. I think that will give them home field throughout. I think the 49ers are going to have to come to Dallas for the NFC Championship game, and I think we can beat them and get to the Super Bowl.
So you're just dismissing Philadelphia.
I'm not dismissing them, but we are going to win that division, and we are going to beat them twice. That's what I believe. We're going to beat them twice. Okay. Yeah, but I still
dismissing them,
they'll make the playoffs.
Which means that you're going to win the division, which means you're going to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
Yes.
And Philadelphia is coming back maybe to you for a third time or something like that. So you're just dismissing a team that has a better, deeper roster.
He didn't say we were going to beat them 3 times, Key.
No.
He said 2 times. They're going to play 3 times, Key. They're going to play 3 times.
That's
we're going to win 2-1. They're going to get one.
But
that's not dismissed.
If you going to play them 3 times, Michael, do the math now. If you playing them 3 and he say you're going to beat them twice in the regular season and get home for the advantage and they coming to you, and then you say to me, and then you say to me,
we're going to beat them 2 times, not twice in the regular season.
He said twice in the regular season. Your co-host, the guy across from me. So all I'm saying is Skip is ahead of his skis right now.
All right, but I do agree with your other Super Bowl pick out of the AFC. I am bullish on Baltimore. I love what Josina Anderson said on this show last week, that she's been in the locker room and it starts to have the vibe of the Eagles locker room of a year ago.
Yeah.
I love everything about him. Lamar is finally happy because he got paid. Is there any lingering bitterness between him and the organization?
Nah,
Josina says no, but he got his money.
Yeah.
And now he's got his weapons.
Yes.
And they're raving about Zay Flowers as something that could be special for him.
Here's what I say about Zay Flowers, playmaker. I saw him out here at the rookie premiere.
Yeah.
A small guy, right? But stacked and jacked, right? And talking to him, you know how when you talk to somebody, you get a real feel for what type of player he is?
Yeah.
I was amazed at just the conversation. I'm like, oh, okay. You getting ready to turn it up, huh? He's like, man, I'm getting ready to unleash on the National Football League.
Yeah.
So that type of perspective,
the game.
I'm like, yeah, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go with you. I'm not going to jinx my Dallas Cowboys and say they're going to win it all.
Okay.
I'm going to say Baltimore wins the Super Bowl, but that my Cowboys get there.
So you're trying to do a little reverse psychology?
A little bit, just to save, just to protect myself, just a bit.
Do you guys know how difficult it is? And not to shoot down any of you guys' thoughts, but Baltimore here, in a new offense, with all of these new players, to be able to bring that thing together.
Yes.
okay, Tom Brady going over to a new offense, that's one thing. Only one man learned that new offense, and he was a genius. He was a flat-out genius at learning new offenses and, bam, getting everybody ready. They amalgamized what he did in New England with what they did in Tampa to make a great offense and get to a Super Bowl in his first year. This new offense now in Baltimore, it'll be difficult for these guys, I believe, to come together in this first year and go all the way to a Super Bowl. That means now we got Lamar understanding new players while he's understanding a new offense, and that offense being good. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult. Though I like the additions that they've had. I love hearing what I'm hearing coming out of Baltimore and hearing how OBJ is at his best right now. And you heard Zay Flowers, that dude can play. But I want to see it on the football field. It's easy in practice because the offense, everything's going well. You feel good about the offense. When I see you in a game in a new offense and you start struggling, do you really believe in that offense? I need to see it when it has some struggle.
Absolutely, you need to see it. You need to constantly get better at it. But you got 17 weeks, okay? You got 17 weeks. If you haven't learned it by the time the playoffs roll around, you're absolutely right, Michael. But I believe Lamar understands the passing game. This is the reason that they went out and made the change to get somebody who could teach the passing game to Lamar and teach it to the receivers and install it a certain way, Skip.
Yeah.
And I think that is it. Their strength is still going to be the running game. They just need to rely on when they need to throw in certain situations to be able to get it done.
Okay.
Greg Roman, for whatever reason, he had a lack of knowledge of the passing game.
Okay. For the record.
And they talking about how much Lamar loves it.
Yeah.
They're talking about how much Lamar loves Monken, how much he loves this new offense. And it gives him an opportunity. We think about it, Skip and Key. He's always wanted to be considered one of the better passers in this league. We talked about it. He joked about it, calling himself a running back. Now you'll actually have talent on the outside that truly matches what they need. It'll be interesting to watch.
Okay, for the record, I don't hate Michael's AFC pick of the Cincinnati Bengals.
No.
And isn't it interesting on this show that Keyshawn Johnson has discounted Joe Burrow in favor of Patrick Mahomes, and yet Richard Sherman picked Joe Burrow to be the MVP, and Michael Irvin picked Joe Burrow's team to get to the Super Bowl.
I can pick Cincinnati too, Skip.
Okay.
I choose not to because I look at what Baltimore was able to do with Lamar. When Lamar is healthy, forget about it.
Okay, I got
they
it.
Run shop
but
on
my
the
point
division.
is that Burrow guy must be pretty decent.
Joe Burrow, look,
Yeah.
here's what I'm going to say to you about this Joe Burrow thing. He's really good, Skip.
Yeah, he is really
He ain't
good.
no damn Patrick Mahomes as you would do.
Yes, he
damn.
is.
He's not even close.
He's not as spectacular as
Well,
Patrick.
Key, don't go too far. He is close, Key. Stop saying that he's not close.
Okay,
Stop, Key. Come on, Key.
all right. Maybe I used
He
the
got to the
wrong
Super Bowl
word
early on, too, just like Patrick Mahomes.
Maybe I used the wrong word by saying close.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is a 10, and Joe Burrow is a 7.5.
Yeah.
You can win with
that's too
that.
far.
7.5.
What you mean?
How about 9.5?
I don't even.
Go ahead on, Skip.
I can't.
So, Michael, my other point of order for you, you said God said, let there be cowboys in paradise. And I think it's in Las Vegas, the Super Bowl. Isn't that in Sodom and Gomorrah?
The city, right, but the city is really known as paradise, where the stadium is.
Yeah,
it's really known as paradise.
Cowboys
in paradise.
Don't argue with the playmaker about Las Vegas and paradise. He knows.
He knows.
Get out of here.
Remember, you can hit us up right now if you choose with your comments pro or con at #UndisputedLive. But up next, what does Nick Bosa's historic contract mean for 11 from Heaven, Micah Parsons?